Okay. So good morning once again. Welcome to our FINBUSF C35A. Okay, I apologize for some mistakes here. I'll correct them and post the corrected one. So my name is Mr. Bailon. You can call me Sir Bob. That's my nickname. My first name is Dioscoro. Okay, but others call me Sir Bob. B.O.B. That's my nickname. So our class schedule is, sorry for this, it's Tuesday, Friday, 9:15 to 10:45. And this is our Zoom link. This will be our regular recurring Zoom link. And this is fully online. So apologies for the mistake here. Okay, it's a fully online subject. So we're not going to meet face-to-face. Okay, so what's the course all about? In this subject, we're going to cover theories of investment mathematics. So this is a quantitative subject. We're going to learn how to compute simple discount, compound interest related to banking and business transactions. So this subject is more on the rudiments of the mathematics of finance. Okay, we'll have applications in annuities, periodic loan payments, and the second part of this course will be about financial statements, how to read financial statements and interpret them. At the end of the course, you'll have a project. Okay, so by next week, we're going to group you because it will be a group project. And then so that as we continue with the subject, I'll give partial instructions on the final output required in this subject. Okay, so it's designed to facilitate understanding of investment mathematics and couple that with the fundamental concepts of financial management. As I said, we're going to look at the concept of interest, the time value of money, time value concepts. Okay, and then since this is fully online, of course, I would encourage you to, we're going to make use of Excel as the main tool in this subject. So let me just, okay, I just want to create a quick survey. Okay, again, just in the chat. Okay, may I know, let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest. Let me write here, 1, lowest. I better use the PowerPoint. Sorry, not duplicate slide, new slide. Okay. Okay. May I request you to please chat in the chat box your proficiency in Excel. Okay, because we're going to make use of Excel as our tool. I'd like you to chat in the chat box. How do you rate yourself in terms of your proficiency in Excel? When you say 10, it means you are really, let's say, be not an expert or very proficient. So you know how to use, for example, Visual Basic for applications. You know how to code in Excel. You know how to use Power BI, Power Query. You know how to make use of structural query language in Excel. Or lower, for example, you can rate yourself an 8. You know how to make use of VLOOKUP, LOOKUP, XLOOKUP. And 10, you have never used Excel for the first, you have never used Excel, or maybe a bit higher than that. You know Excel, you know how to open it, you know how the basic functionalities, but you're not really comfortable using that because you don't use that frequently. Okay, so may I now request you to please chat the chat box, please. The 0.5, 4, okay, 5, good. Thank you. I'd like to see the others. 3, 5, 5, 4, okay, 5, good. So usually people who say that, thank you for your responses. Okay, I know you are underestimating yourselves, but that's your, thank you for that assessment. Okay, so that means I'm happy because that means opportunity to learn more. Okay, so in this class, we're going to really make use of Excel as our primary tool in solving quantitative problems. Your exams will also be, of course, you will be allowed to use Excel. Definitely, because that's the tool that we're using. I have another class in the afternoon, but that's face-to-face. But later we will still be online because we're not yet allowed to do face-to-face this week. So in that class, we will, of course, be also using calculator and Excel. But here in this class, it will be fully Excel. So that's very good. That's very good. Okay, so let me go back to what we were discussing. All right, so this is fully online. Okay, so let's go here. Let's go to the topics. The grades first, the grading system. 30% will be quizzes. Problem sets will be given every now and then in the classroom. Then you'll have assignments or seat work, 10%. Collaborations, this will be group work. And then I'll also throw in some case analysis and reflections, 10%. Final exams, case analysis. Okay. I think this is I'm very sorry about this. Let me fix this first because it does not give us the final paper, the final product. I think it's the case analysis, but the weight should be higher because it's a final project. It will be a financial statement analysis project. It's a group project. Okay, and the final exams, 25%. All right, so it's a usual grading system. Okay, so let's take a look at the learning plan for this subject. So week 1, we're going to discuss, of course, this is the orientation. And then we're going to learn simple interest, simple discount, where we have 2 types of simple interest. We have exact interest and ordinary interest. And then we're going to learn how to compute using actual and approximate time. So we're going to start already with this one today, at least the introduction. Now this is just a reference. Okay, Cordova, Wilson, the mathematics of finance. The problem with this is well, it's a problem of sorts because it's a Philippine textbook and it's quite well, personally, I haven't checked if it's available at National Bookstore, but maybe it is. So you may or may not purchase this. It's not a required textbook, but definitely you may wish to buy that and look at the examples. Or you can, of course, the internet is at your disposal. You can navigate through several tutorials on mathematics of finance, because that's our main topic. Okay, so once again, class, this is not this is a suggested and not really a required textbook. As I said, there are many references also in the internet that explains these topics very well. Okay, then we go to compound interest. Right? Compound interest and compound amount. And then we're going to take a look at present and future values at compound interest. We're going to use, as I mentioned, Excel in solving this. But we're also going to show the formula. It's important that we know how the formula looks like. So in the first few, when I introduce the topic, we're going to look at the formula and then use Excel using the formula, and then also use Excel using its functions. Okay, because Excel can compute this using its built-in functions. But we're also going to learn how to use the formula in Excel so that, and of course, on your own, you can try it in your calculator. But I said we're not really going to, since this is not a face-to-face class, and it will be very difficult to do that because number one, you have different calculators, or some of you might not be using any calculator anymore, but that's okay. We'll have, just make sure that you have Excel, okay? And because that's what we're going to use. Okay, then we're going to learn how to solve for the other components of the time value of money problem, which is the solving for time. When you say solving for time, for example, you are asked a question, how long will it take to double your money? If you have 1,000 now, how long will your money double if you put it in a bank, in a regular savings bank that earns, let's say, just 1%? If for that matter, if you have 1 million, and if you want your money to double, okay, if you want for it to become 2 million, how long will you have to wait if you're just putting it in a regular savings bank that earns, say, 1% interest rate? Okay, so that's what we mean by solving for time. And then also we're going to look at how to solve for effective rates. Okay, and then after those topics, we're going to have our first first quiz. So it's here, quiz number 1. So simple interest, simple discount, compound interest, and also the other topics here, the present value, future value, how to solve for time, how to solve for effective rates, all the topics covered beforehand. So that might be estimated, that will be on the 4th week. Okay. Estimated natin, it will be on the 4th week. All right, then the next topic will be annuities. Okay, so you have ordinary annuities. Then how do you compute for the present value of an ordinary annuity? Then we also have, okay, then also how do you compute for the period payment, which is the annuity itself? Okay, so these are the different topics that we're going to discuss as regards ordinary annuity. And then you can look this up in Cordova or other references. Then aside from, there are generally 2 types of annuities. You have ordinary annuity and annuity due. Okay, what's the difference between ordinary annuity and annuity due? So let me flash my PowerPoint. Anyone explain? Have you met that term, ordinary annuity and annuity due? Okay, sige, let's first, let's call I'd like to chat first. I'd like to see everyone. Who have you met that term, or do you understand that term, ordinary annuity and annuity due? Just yes or no, please, from the class. Don't be ashamed to answer, and please answer to everyone, not only to me. So this is just a survey. Doesn't matter if you know it or not. It's okay. We're looking at this as an opportunity. Okay. So you have mixed answers here. Some of you are saying it's yes. Some of you are saying it's no. It's okay. Thank you so much for your honesty. But again, that's good because of your participation, and also for those who don't know it, good also because it's an opportunity to to learn. All right. So let me just okay. Very quickly. Okay, sorry for this line. Okay, let's assume this is a timeline, and I don't know if, I'm not sure if PowerPoint 365 has the ink review. Is it here? This should have. Why? Oh, it's hidden. Does that mean that it's not available? Okay, it looks like the ink function of PowerPoint 365 is not available. Okay, anyway, all right, just imagine, I'll set my digital pen next meeting. So let me just insert. Okay, I think I'd better just show this to the internet. So let's ordinary. Let's just Google this versus okay. It's a lot easier to search for this the net and show the images. Okay, let's look at images. Okay, I'm trying to find a. Okay, I think this is okay. Okay, so just to illustrate the difference between annuity ordinary. So where's that illustration? Here, okay? So take a look at this. Ordinary annuity. Notice the timeline. So this is time 0, which means now. And then after one period, this can be after 1 day or after 1 week or after 1 month, 1 quarter. It depends on the period being considered. It can be after 1 year. So this is after another year, etc. Notice that for the ordinary annuity, okay, the cash flow being considered occurs at the end of the first period. Okay, so this can be, let's say, an investment or a payment. So beginning now, after 1 period, you have the cash flow. That's what we call ordinary annuity. So, and then for an annuity, it's a constant cash flow. Okay, when we say constant, if this is 100, then this should be 100, 100, 100, 100. There should be no cash flow that's different. Okay, it's a uniform cash flow. If this is 100, then this is 90, then this is 80, and this is 100, then that's no longer an annuity. Okay, an annuity has to be constant over time. An ordinary annuity starts at the end of the period. Okay. On the other hand, let's compare that with a annuity due immediately. Okay, so it starts at the beginning of the period. So for example, this is let's say a loan. So you loan, and then you will have to make payments. Okay, so you make payment after 1 period, 100. You loan now, then you make payment after 1 period, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100. That's called your annuity ordinary. On the other hand, annuity due, the cash flow occurs right now, okay, at time 0, 100, and then 100, 100, 100. And then these are equally spaced intervals of time. Can be, as I mentioned a while ago, it can be 1 day, or 1 week, or 1 month, or 3 months, etc. Half a year or 1 year. So uniformly equally spaced time period, constant cash flow, ordinary annuity, it starts at the end of the first period. Okay. and then annuity due starts at the beginning of the first period. Okay, so let me ask, are there any questions? So far, is our discussion of what annuity ordinary and annuity due clear? Can you chat, please? Kung yes, yes means clear so far, and no means you want me to explain further. Feedback, please. Class, I would appreciate your feedback. Yes, to indicate that clear, the explanation of what ordinary and annuity due is clear, and then no means you want me to repeat the explanation. Waiting for your chat, guys. Okay. Thank you. Okay, let's give some of your classmates a few more seconds to chat. All right. Okay, good. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate your participation, appreciate your feedback. Okay, just to summarize, ordinary annuity, you have constant cash flows. These are cash, no? Cash flows over a certain period of time. Okay, and you notice that there's an end, by the way. I forgot to mention this. There's an end. There's a specific period. Okay, there's a specific period to your annuity. Okay, whether it's ordinary annuity or annuity due. Because there's also a different type of annuity, which is perpetual. And it's what we call perpetuity. Okay, it's called perpetuity. So if you see a cash flow where the cash flows are forever and forever, it's perpetual, it has no end. It's called a perpetuity. So in this class, we're going to compare what let's say if we want to get the value of an ordinary annuity now, okay, that's getting the present value of an ordinary annuity. We're going to learn how to compute that. Also, we're going to learn how to compute for the present value of an annuity due. Of course, they will be different because they have different, the timing of the cash flows are differ. And then also for a perpetuity. Okay, for a perpetuity, so this keeps on and on and on and on. How do you compute for the present value of that? So we're going to add that as a discussion in our subject. So let me go back to our, where's that? There. All right. So ordinary annuity, annuity due, we're going to compute for the present values, the annuity value, the rate and the time. So these are things that we can easily compute using a formula, but easier using Excel. And then of course, we're going to, we'll be adding here perpetuities also. Okay, and then after that, we'll have our second quiz. Okay, that's quiz number 2 on ordinary annuity, annuity due, and perpetuity. Okay, and then we'll have a break between weeks 8 and 9. So October 30 to November 6, we will not be having classes. So when we go back from the school break, we will be discussing the introduction to financial management. Okay, this will now be the finance side of our course. So what's the core? What's finance? What is the goal of financial management, and what are the different principles of finance? What are the activities under finance? And we'll take a look at what are the markets in finance. And then the rest will be focused on an appreciation of financial statements, the balance sheet, the income statement, statement of cash flow. For this one, we'll have a different reference. It's by Titman, Kion, etc. Okay, again, this is you don't need to buy this. You can look for several sources in the internet. And then after the FS analysis, the analysis of the balance sheet, analysis of the income statement, and the statement of cash flows, we will go to financial ratio analysis. Okay, we'll go to financial ratio analysis, and then some introduction to financial management, and then this is where you'll be submitting, okay, or maybe on the finals week, your output for financial ratio analysis. It will be a group effort, group work. Okay, for our fourth, let me pause for a while. Any questions so far? Okay, again, class, you notice I keep on asking questions because I would want to know if I'm going too fast or going too slow, or because some are quite ashamed to ask questions. So in this class, I'd like to encourage everyone not to be ashamed. Okay, no question here will be treated as a stupid question. The word stupid does not exist in this class. So I want us to have an environment where you feel safe to ask questions. You will not be criticized. You will not be ostracized. You will not be put down. Okay. Every question here will be treated with respect, deserving of the dignity of an honest to goodness question. All right. So clear so far? Kindly chat, yes or no? Or is there anything that you want me to discuss or to explain further as regards the topic? The topics to be covered in this subject? Thank you, Bianca. Thank you, Christine. Tyla, thank you. Okay. Diana, salamat. Nancy, Pauline, sorry, ang bilis na. Yeah, very good. Thank you, everyone. Okay, I guess more than 50%. Yeah, thank you, Katrina, Daniel. All right, thank you, guys. I really appreciate the feedback because it tells me your feedback is like my compass. Your feedback allows me to, if I need to shift course a bit, redirect, or I need to re-emphasize a point, that's what I use. Okay, so lastly, the fourth are activities. So yung fourth R, these are activities conducted outside the classroom. So you need to watch, there's another one here, but I'll just put that later. You need to watch these movies, The Wolf of Wall Street, in Netflix. Okay, I hope you have access to Netflix. And then The Big Short. I'm trying to find if this can be found in YouTube, The Big Short. I guess if any one of you see, even The Wolf of Wall Street, kindly help me. If you see the link to this, either in YouTube, kindly inform me, and then so that we can share it with the class, because this will be part of your reflection paper. And if you look at the grading system, okay, our reflection paper contributes how many percent? Here, 10%. Okay, but I will have to finalize this. Okay, because there's a project at the end, so we will have to tweak that a bit. Right, and there's another movie. I haven't placed it yet because I'm trying to see if that's applicable. All right, here's a list of references that you can, and of course, this subject is well discussed, so there should be no a problem. Okay. All right, so this is a fully online class. Always check canvas for announcements. Maybe, okay, I think I failed to include something here. Yeah. Oops, sorry, I haven't asked you to fill this up. All right, so, okay. I'd like to share with you now in the chat box. Okay, we will have a Google Drive. We're going to put some files there. So this is actually our Google Drive. This one. Okay, so far you have this. This is the Word format of your syllabus, and this one is the PDF format. But I'll be changing this because of some of the errors there. And then this is our list of the classmates which we're going to use for grouping. Okay, so it's this one. So I'd like to ask you also to write your insert one column. Okay, kindly also write your email address here. Okay, and then I'll share with you the link to it. Okay, in the chat box, please. Kindly open and then please put in your details here. Complete name, yung family name, comma, first name. Yung course, yung shortcut lang, kunyari BM kayo or MFI, just the acronym for your course. Gerard, kindly put the family name first. Parang Lu, comma. First name, incomplete mo, ha? Gerard, MKT na lang, ha? Remove BS na lang. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so I'm thinking of creating a messenger group for us, okay? Because sometimes it's easier to communicate through messenger. So why we will be using the announcement in Canvas, I'm suggesting that we also create sorry, Mason, what's 100? Do you have any questions? Machine. Am I muted? $100. Oh, sorry. Okay, so that's what you meant. Okay, thank you, Machine. There. All right, so far we are 18 all in all, and then we will be dividing ourselves into groups by next week. I want a combination of fin and marketing because how many, let me just check how many fin students we have. Fin, MKT, and ADV. Let's check. Criteria range. Okay, so we have 9 fin students and 9 marketing students, marketing and advertising. So it's pretty good, good balance. Okay, so that will guide us in how we will be grouping ourselves. I want a mixture of finance and marketing students. All right, so let me, okay, I think wait, let me check. I think I stopped recording first. It's okay. Okay, so going back to our lesson, so our first topic will be on simple interest. Okay, so I'm going to start now, at least introduce the lesson on simple interest, simple discount, exact and ordinary interest, and then using the actual and approximate time. As I said, it's best for us to open an Excel file. So may I request you to open an Excel file, please? Okay. And I'm going to show our PowerPoint. I'll be giving you a copy of this PowerPoint in at the end of the day. Okay. So welcome to Module 1. Our first topic will be all about simple interest. Okay, what's our objective for this module? We want to learn how to calculate simple interest and maturity value. So how do we calculate simple interest and maturity value if the period being considered is either months or years? Okay, there are two ways to compute for simple interest. It's either exact interest or ordinary interest. What's the difference between these two? Okay, also in the course of this topic, we'd like to find unknowns in simple interest formula. So you have the simple interest formula, and then what if what's unknown is either principal? Okay, if we're looking for if the unknown is principal, then the rate and the time should be given, because you cannot compute for the principal if the rates and the times are not given. Or we can, if the rate is not given, then it can be computed assuming for as long as the principal and the time are given. So with the time, if we're interested to compute for the time, then we should know the principal or the rate. So this is more of quite a review of your, maybe in your senior high school math, you also had these lessons. So this is more of a review, only that we will have more complicated, more complex problems because this is college already. And then we're also going to make use of of Excel as a tool for our subject. Okay, so the basic principle, see if I can, no, can't be increased. Okay, the formula. To compute for the market maturity value, you have to know the principal plus the interest. So theoretically, when we talk of the principal, this is, it depends. No? It can be the amount of the loan, so if you're borrowing money, or can be investing money. Okay, so the difference is that when we loan, okay, the principal will be a cash inflow, okay, which means that we're borrowing money, so money is going to us. Okay, we're receiving the money, and then plus the interest. So the money that we're going to borrow is not free. Nobody, no financing institution will lend us money, okay, without any cost. There is a cost of borrowing money. Of course, when you borrow from your relatives, for example, from your parents, they will not charge with the interest. But that's not the case here. What we're looking into is a financial transaction where you borrow money or you invest your money, and then that money either has a cost. The cost is when you're borrowing money, or it has also the growth. The growth is when you're investing the money. Okay, so in whatever may be the situation, whether it's a loan or an investment, there's always an interest that comes with it. Okay, which presupposes that this amount of money is not free. Okay, because it emanates from the principle of the time value of money. Time value of money means money has cost. So in whatever instance, whether you're loaning money, you're borrowing, or you're investing it, the amount that you either borrowed or you invested will carry with it a certain interest. Okay? And when we add the principal to the interest, we have what we call the maturity value. So this is a straightforward formula. Let's take a look at the formula for the simple interest. because simple interest is needed to compute for the maturity value, right? The maturity value is equal to the principal plus the interest. So if we know the principal, we have to know the interest in order to compute for the maturity value. Okay, so simple interest is simply, okay, sorry for the term again, simple interest is the principal times rate times time, or others call this PRT, principal times rate times time. Okay, you have the principal, you have the rate, can be stated as a percent or a decimal, and time, okay, the time is, the standard is, the practice is, they should be stated in number of years. Okay, it can be given in months or weeks or half years, but it has to be converted into years. Okay, because the rate is usually given in as an annual rate, therefore the time should also be expressed in annually. Okay, so there should be one-to-one correspondence. When you say rate, usually it's given in annual terms. Okay, so for example, you're going to borrow from a bank, and then they quote you at 4%. It's always understood that that 4% is annual. Okay, always, that's the standard, so that there will be no confusion. Okay, and so if you're given an annual rate, then the period should also be measured in annually. Okay, so let's have a basic example. So you have this person who borrowed 40,000. So this is a loan for office furniture. The loan was for 6 months at an annual interest rate of 4%. Take a look at this. Okay, so it was emphasized. Okay, even without putting here annual, the assumption would always be this is annual. Okay, so you know the principal, 40,000 is the amount being borrowed. Okay, that's our principal. And this is our rate. And then this is our time. Okay, so we have the three components that are needed in order to compute for simple interest, PRT. You have the principal of 40,000. You have a rate, should be an annual rate, okay, annual rate of 4%, and then the time should be expressed as in annual terms also. Okay, so let me copy this. Let's do this first in Excel. Okay. All right. So in Excel, it would be good to identify the terms. Okay, we have the principal, we have the rate, and then we have the time. Okay, so what's our principal? Our principal is 40,000. So let me put here 40,000. Okay, what's our rate? 4%. And what's our time? Our time is 6 months, right? This is 6 months. Okay, so we said that the formula compute for the interest, or interest, will simply be the product of, so see, your principal let me just write times rate. Okay, so this is our formula, principal times rate times time. Okay, so we can now compute easily. In Excel, it will be simply, the principal is 40, and then we multiply this by the rate. What's the rate? 4%, right? So we can use that because that's the annual rate. And then the time, it's given in months. So since the rate is annual, the time should also be annual. Now, how do we convert 6 months into years? It should also be years. So could you kindly chat what will be the value for that? Chat, please. Okay, thank you, Gerard. Okay, the rest, I'd like to see the rest, guys. Just to be clear, 6 months, how do we convert that into number of years? Thank you, Lisa. Okay, correct, Patricia, yeah, that's good. Diana, good. Katrina, okay, I guess every one of you knows it, okay? All right, please pardon me for sometimes asking these very basic questions because I've discovered that sometimes basic questions for others might not be that basic for the rest. And as I said, we will treat everyone here fairly and equally, okay? So I think everybody knows that 6 months is equal to 1 year. So we can proceed now with our Excel. Okay, so we're going to multiply this by, okay, we can use this 6, but we have to divide that by the number of months to convert that into year. Okay, so C9 divided by 12, and let's see if this is correct. Yeah, it's 0.5. Okay, so that's 6 over 12. Right? Okay, then, so that's 800. So if you're borrowing, so what does this mean? If you're borrowing money at 40,000 and the rate of interest is 4%, and you're only going to borrow that for 6 months, you're going to pay in 6 months' time, then you will have to pay an interest of 800. Okay, that's the interest that you're going to pay. Okay, now, if we're going to add the principal here, because we know that the if we want to compute for the maturity value, okay, the maturity value is simply the sum of your principal and your interest. So if we add this, so the maturity value, which means the amount that you will be paying at the end of 6 months, is 40,800. Let me check. Baka may question dito. Okay, thank you. All right, thank you, Sophia. You're correct. Okay, so again, I hope you don't mind me pausing once in a while because I'd like to check. Any questions? Clear ba? Is the discussion clear so far? If it's clear, kindly chat yes. Good. All right, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's go back to our PowerPoint. And it agrees with the answer here. So what we did was to compute for the interest, which is principal times rate times time. And then just take note that the rate is given, if there's no mention of annual, it's always assumed as annual. Okay, so if I say the rate is 8%, do not ask, is that monthly rate? Okay, because unless otherwise stated, okay, for example, weekly rate of 1%, then that means that's a weekly rate. Semi-annual rate of 10%. Okay, if there's no specification at all whatsoever, if it's not described whether it's weekly or daily or monthly or semi-annually, then it is always annual rate, a yearly rate. Okay, so since we're multiplying it with the yearly rate, then we have to multiply this with a period that's yearly period also. 6 months is actually 0.5 years. So that's why we're multiplying it by the factor 6/12, which is converts your months into years. Okay, and as we saw in Excel, the answer is 800. And then to compute for the maturity value, it will just be the sum of your principal plus the interest. So the maturity value is the amount that you will pay at the end of the period. And it covers both the principal and the interest. The maturity value can also be your net proceeds from your investment. So for example, if this is an investment, you invested 40,000 in a vehicle that earns 4%, how much will your money be after 6 months? It will be 40,800. So that the maturity value here can be taken in terms of a loan or in terms of the proceeds from an investment. The formula is the same. Okay, I hope that's clear. So it depends on the context, whether you're borrowing or you're loaning. Now that's very important when we now use the functionality of Excel. Okay, so for now, it's not really important. It doesn't matter whether this 40,800 is a loan or this is the net proceeds of an investment. It doesn't matter. What we're looking at here is the absolute value. Okay, so this 40,800 is the maturity value. Either it means the total amount you'll be paying or it means the total proceeds from your investment. Okay, let's have another example. Here we will have really examples, but mostly we will be using Excel. All right, so what's this one? Hope borrowed 40,000. The loan was for 1 year at the rate of 4%. So same rate, but this time the term is now 1 year. Okay, so what will be the difference? If we take a look at the formula, interest is equal to PRT. What will change now is the time. The time is 1 year. So 1 year, you don't need to convert that 1 year because that's already annual. Okay, so we replace the 6/12 with 1. And then, of course, we expect that the interest will be higher. Okay, what makes it higher? Because the term is higher. The time period is higher. So interest is a function of principal rate times time. Increase any of this, then you increase interest. If you increase principal is directly proportional to interest. Increasing principal means you will increase interest. Increasing the rate means you're going to increase interest. Increasing the period means you're going to increase the interest. So any one of this that increases will result into an increased interest. Okay, so they're directly proportional. Okay, so here what happened was the period was converted from 6 months to 1 year. So we just multiply this with 1, and you see here a doubling of the interest. Okay, initially the interest was 800 because that was only half a year. For 1 year, it will be 1,600. It was doubled because the term was doubled. And the maturity value also increased by, the increase was 800, therefore the maturity value increased by 800. So it now became 41,600. So I'll not show that in Excel anymore. So what happens here is that this one becomes 1, right? Okay, and so what happened here? Sorry. Sorry, I forgot I'm not using my laptop, so iba yung keys dito. No? Interest, what happened? Okay, we should, okay. So no more over 12 here. Okay, it's the same, of course. Same. So whether you use calculator or you use Excel, you'll get the same answer. But of course, it's easier to use this in Excel. Okay, these are very basic examples so far. I hope you do. If you have any questions, please feel free to chat. Don't be ashamed to chat, or you can unmute yourself, raise your hand. You make use of the icons that we have here in Canvas in order to call my attention. Okay, so okay, this is another example. Here, what we're given is 18 months. Okay, we're just changing the terms here, just to drive home the point that the formula PRT, since the rate given is annually, the time should also be annual. So what happened with 18 months? It was converted into months. So 18 months is actually 18 over 12 years, right? So if we go to Excel, so this time this is, let me put here 18. Okay, this is 18 months, and I'll be changing this function F2. So this one will be C9, and then I'll divide by 12 again. Okay, because this is now in months. Okay. So C9, which is 18 months, divided by 12. All right, so that's 1.5. No? That's 1.5 years. Okay, multiply that by the principal and the rate. So that's 2,400. Which is actually times 3. But initially there was 6 months. And then we'll change it into 18 months. So times 3 yung difference. No? So if the principal and the rate remain the same, then your interest will also increase by 3 times. Okay, because we said that the interest is directly proportional to your time. Assuming principal and rate remain the same, if time increases by 2 times, then interest will increase twice. If time increases by 10 times, then interest will also increase by 10 times. Here, time increased from 6 months, it became 18 months, so it increased by 3. Trebled, okay, times 3. So the initial interest of 6 months was 800, and now it became 2,400. So it can be easily seen in the formula. Okay, any increase in any of the factors here, assuming the others remain the same, will generally lead to the same factor of increase in your interest. Okay, so I hope that really drives home the point. That's what I wanted to say in our formula about interest is equal to principal times rate times time. Okay, of course, if there are different changes in the factors, both in principal and the rate and time, then let's say principal increased by twice, rate increased by twice, time increased by twice. No? So that will be twice times twice times twice. Okay, that will be 8 times. Therefore, interest will increase 8 times. Okay, that's what I meant. Since this is just multiplication, and then we're just multiplying factors. All right? May I have your feedback, please, guys? So far, clear ba yung, is it clear, our discussion on the principal times the rate times time, and what happens when one of these increases by a certain factor, or all of them increase by a certain factor? Okay, let me just illustrate this. One last. Okay, so you have here, let's increase this twice. So the principal increases by 2 times, the rate increases by 3 times, and the months increase by, say, let's just peg it here. Okay. So let's say, let's put this back to 6. Okay. So let's make it increase by 4 times 24. So this is twice, this is thrice, and this is 4 times. So by how much did it increase? So let's get the product of this. Product of 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'm using the product function. That means 2 times 3 times 4. So our factors increase all in all by 24. Okay, so let's see what happens. So our interest will now be, I think we can copy this. Copy to the right. No, sorry. Okay, our principal times, wait, yeah, I think this is correct. Yeah, it's equal to 800. Wait. Our interest is, our interest will increase by, this is the increase in interest, no? Increase in interest. This is the total increase in interest. So let's check if we're correct. So this is interest. Initial interest was 800, and this will increase by 24. So it's 19,200. Okay, we're correct. Okay, the principal is still the same. 40,000. So we were just looking at this. The interest will increase by 24. So we were looking at the relationship between the interest and the principal rate time. So these are factors. Any amount of factor of the increase in any of this will also lead to the same amount of increase in your interest. Okay, so pause for a while. Is the discussion clear so far? Plus, kindly chat, please. Yes or no if I'm going too fast and you want to ask questions, please. Appreciate again your feedback. Feedback, please, guys. Okay, thank you, Gerard. Thank you, Christine, Diana, and thank you so much for your feedback so far. Okay, good, good. Don't worry, guys. I'm going to post the PowerPoint. And do you still want me to post this Excel? I'll post it if you want, but sige, I'll post it anyway, even if we only have a few entries here. It's okay, I'll post it. Okay, so going back here. Okay, let's now look at the different methods. Okay, I have maybe 4 or 4 more minutes. Okay, so what are the different methods for calculating simple interest and the maturity value? Number 1, we have the exact interest. And this is oftentimes used in banks and by the government. So exact interest means you're going to use the 365 days. Okay? Right, so this is particularly of interest when you're given the days. So you're going to divide by 365. And the other one is, so let me just go there first, ordinary interest. No? So exact, method 1, method 2 is ordinary. So for ordinary interest, we just use 360 days. Okay, the formula is the same, only that there will be a difference in the divisor. So let me just give you one example. and then we'll call it a day because it's almost time. So on March 4, Joe borrowed 50,000 at 5% interest. Again, this is annual. Okay, so without any explanation or any description at all, then it's always assumed that that percent given is the nominal percent that's annual. So the question is from March 4 until July 6. Okay, so we're asked to compute what are the interest costs and the maturity value. All right, so going to the interest, which is principal times rate times time. The principal is 50,000, the rate is 0.05. Now the time, how about the time? So how many days are there between March 4 and July 6? Okay, so we will have to compute for the exact numbers. So how do you do that? So March, guys, how many days in March? March 4, let me insert here. March 4 to 31. How many days is that? Anyone, class? How many days? Is getting the difference correct? 31 minus 4. So let's see first. Let's see first. And then you have April. How many days in April? 1 to 30. Of course, that's 30 days, right? And then in May 1 to 31. How many days is that? 31 days. And then June 1 to 30. So that's 30 days. And then in July, that's 1 to 6. If we subtract, that will be 5. Okay, let's see if this is the correct computation. So if we add this from March 4 to July 6. Okay, so that's 27, 57. This is 88, 118 plus 5. 118 plus 5, so that's 123. Okay, so where's the mistake here? They tell us it's 124. Okay, so next meeting, we'll continue with this. It's already time, but the answer is 124 days, and try to figure out, okay, what's wrong here? Where did we go wrong here? And then, so we divide 124 days by 365 because we're using the exact interest, and once we get the interest, we can get now the maturity value. Okay. All right. So let me stop recording now.